name is Lee, and welcome to Happy Chick. Today, we will be discussing the equipment that you need to be able to brew a successful gallon or two of wine or meads. These are simple country wines and meads, so you don't need a whole lot of equipment to start off with. But you do need a couple of things, at least, for a successful batch. The first thing that you will need, and I highly recommend it, is some kind of sanitization. I use Star San sanitizer. It is a no-rinse sanitizer, so you just fill a container full of warm water or hot water, and then depending on how much water you have, you use the Star San. My little sink container does about 2.5 gallons, so I only use about a half an ounce of the Star San to do my sanitization. And as long as the sanitizer is still good and it's not filthy, you can actually save it and reuse it for another batch of sanitization, either like your bottles or another sanitizing of a fermentator. So this is important. This is a 16 ounce. I've had this for over a year. It is a little on the pricier side. I think it's around $25, but you only use a little bit, and this will last you a very long time. So it is important to find some kind of sanitization. The next thing that I would suggest that you need to gather before you brew a batch of wine is something to brew it in. This can be anything from a food grade plastic bucket that has a lid that you can fit an airlock into, or I have an old wine jug that I've saved. This is a 1 gallon, about roughly 1 gallon, I believe it is. I think it was a Carlo Rossi wine. I've had this for ages, so I don't remember, but I know it was a wine. I drank it, enjoyed it, kept the bottle so that I can brew my stuff. This is a short, small neck, so you will need to have an airlock and a bung that goes with this. A bung simply goes in the neck to seal it, and then the airlock goes in. Now this airlock you fill with sanitizer water or some kind of drinking alcohol that you don't care about, like vodka, whiskey, something that is drinkable but you don't really want to drink it, or it's really that bad. You don't want to use anything like isopropyl alcohol because you don't want it to accidentally back in to your fermentation vessel and contaminate your must or wine, because that's not drinkable. So I highly recommend either sanitizer water or some kind of drinking alcohol to fill this up. And what this does, this is the airlock, it prevents bugs, bacteria, other flying around yeasts to get into your brew. Because of the water, it prevents things to get in. And if you've ever seen like fruit flies, they love wine. So you want to make sure that you get something like this. These are fairly inexpensive. I got 3 for under $10. So they are inexpensive and they work really great. They also let the carbon dioxide come out of the wine as it's fermenting. So you'll see bubbles sometimes coming through and they come out. So this is an airlock. This is, I would say, a necessity. And then if you have the small neck, you'll have to get a bung that will fit in there. The other type of fermentation vessel that I have that I would highly recommend, especially if you're brewing stuff that has like chunks of fruit or like cinnamon sticks or things like that is a wide mouth fermentation. It's like one of those old-timey pickle jars. Actually, that's what it reminds me of. But the lid has a little hole in it so that you can actually put the airlock in, seal it down, and then put the airlock in that way. And it works exactly the same way. It's really nice to be able to remove those chunks of fruits when you need to. It also makes it easier to clean the vessel. So these are really handy. And I got a deal on these just recently. I bought two that came with the airlock, actually, for under $20. So that's a pretty good deal there. And you have one to ferment, one to put your brew into, secondary ferment or transfer into bottles. So those would be the necessities of some type of vessel to ferment your wines and meads in. Those are bare bones that I would suggest. But there are other things that would make your life a lot easier when you're brewing, especially if you find that you enjoy brewing and you want to do it more often. If you're just doing it for a lark 1 or 2 times, then those basic equipment is pretty much all you need. If you find it is a hobby that you want to expand on, I do recommend getting a few more items that will make your life a whole lot easier when it comes to brewing, racking, and bottling. The next important item that you would want to consider is a hydrometer. The hydrometer will measure specific gravity, which is the sugar solution versus liquid in your must, or at the end of the product it'll measure how much sugar as well as is in your end product. And it's got a couple of different charts on here. I use the specific gravity. It starts at 0.990, which is very, very dry, all the way up to 1.170, which is sickly sweet. It's got a thermometer. It has a bricks calculation, which I don't use the bricks, so I won't be discussing that. But you use the specific gravity at the beginning and at the end to be able to calculate your approximate alcohol percentage in your beverage that you've brewed. It also lets you know if it's done, if it's been sitting a while and it's not doing anything. We check it to see if maybe it's stuck, or if it's just not done yet. So this will come in handy. I bought this many moons ago, so I'm not quite sure how much they are, but I believe I paid between $20 and $25. So it is a little bit pricey, but this does help immensely on figuring out if your wine is done or not. So that's another important piece of equipment that I would highly recommend. The other thing that goes with it would be a calibrated cylinder. I used to use the container that this came in, but it started to leak, so I had to get one of these under $8 that I got like on Amazon or something like that. And basically you would just fill the cylinder with your must or finished wine product using a turkey baster. Makes life a whole lot easier. Fill it up, and then you would just drop your hydrometer in the solution, and it floats, and then you read wherever the liquid level is, and that would be your reading. So that's another thing that I would suggest to get along with the hydrometer. They kind of go hand in hand. The other item that I would highly recommend, the last 2 items actually, are for when your wine's done and you're ready to rack the wine off of the lees. And the lees is simply the bottom of the jug that's your yeast that has fallen out of the solution, any particulates like fruit seeds or, pieces of pulp or what have you. It starts packing down at the bottom. And this auto-siphon is tremendous at getting your liquid out without disturbing all of this leaves. And it also helps making, your end product fairly clear. Although, it's not going to hurt you, but it makes it kind of pretty when it's kind of clear. And it's really simple. It's just by suction and gravity. You put this in your fermentation vessel. You put this in, the vessel that you're wanting to rack to, and do it a couple pumps, and gravity will swoosh it down. Very simple. And this is called a mini one. It's about 22 inches. Got this for like $12. It comes in handy for using on the smaller jugs. They do make bigger ones that's for like 5 gallons and such, but you want a small one if you're going to be doing the smaller batches. And then the last piece of item that I want to suggest is a bottling wand. If you're going to be bottling into used wine bottles or beer bottles, or I sometimes use like old whiskey bottles, you want something to help bottle. It makes a big mess if you don't have one of these and you're just trying to, get this from one bottle to another. This comes in handy. It's got like a little spring-loaded tip that you push down, and it will open up so that your liquid can flow through to fill your bottle. And then if you lift it up, it closes, and that way you can go from one bottle to another. They do kind of stick every once in a while, so you want to be careful, but they do come in handy. And you just attach it to your siphon and go from there. So these are the basic equipment that I would recommend you have if you find that you would like to pursue this as a hobby more than just 1 or 2 times and as a lark. There's a whole lot more stuff that you can get. You can get bottles that have flip tops for carbonating your wines or ciders or meads. There's equipment that you can buy to do beer and stuff. I don't have any of that, but who knows? I might start looking into that. But these are your basic items that I highly recommend that would make your life a lot easier doing the simple country wines brewing. So if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, let me know. We'll be looking forward to the next video, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye. Basic equipment to do. Let's start over.